you know, it still takes a hit on your self-esteem because you feel like, I've done all these things. I try to be a good person. I am a good person. Why won't someone, why does that not translate into somebody doing the same for me? I just remember a time coming home by myself and there was a man standing by a door, and something told me at, like I said, 5 or 6 years old, don't keep walking. And I didn't go down to our apartment complex, and I remembered these people that lived before us, and I took a chance and stopped into their apartment to see if I could call my mother at work. And so I stopped at their house, and I just remember them open the door. Of course, as a child, I just remember thinking, their house is on fire. But now, later day, I'm like, no, the weed was so fulfilled in the house. So when I remember them open the door, I walked in. And again, that could have been dangerous, right? Because I don't know who all they had in their house. But I asked them, could I call my mom? I called her, told her there was a man standing by a door. And she talked to them afterwards and asked them, could I sit there till she got home? So I sat there. And then, like 2 days later, we saw that same man on the news. He had drowned a little girl in the lake behind our house. And I remember seeing on the news, and I told my mom, I said, that's the man. That's the man that was by our door. So clearly he had been watching me, knew I was coming home by myself. That's why he was standing there waiting right at our door. That day when I got home and told them what happened, they were freaking out, and they told me when school get out, we about to get down there. And they would have me call them every day just to make sure I was okay. And when school got out, that when the end of my 6th grade year, my granddaddy was in our yard standing there. He's like, let's go. And then I never went back. It used to be kind of like the living room. My granddaddy used to sit right there all the time. And so this was kind of the living room area. The kitchen area in here. So he's having to redo all the roofs in here. The floors had to be taken out. So you see, we started on the floors first. All the floors having to be redone. This is the dining room? Yep, this used to be the dining room. This was more like the living room. This was the family room. And we won't go back there because they doing so much work back. But the bedrooms was back here. My room was actually back here. Like, I remember getting the call from the school that to see if and it was from my youngest brother, and saying, Stacy, can we come live with you? We living in our daddy truck. That was the call. And since our mother had left, and then there was their dad, and then he was gonna say he was gonna like take care of them, but then something happened with where they were living with his girlfriend. Y'all got put out, and all they had was like the clothes on their backs. And I remember I called my grandmother and I told her, and she said, well, maybe, she said, with me and your granddaddy, we can't take them on. She said, but if you try to take them, we'll do whatever we can to help you, if you get them. And I told her, I said, well, I can't not, like, because it was either I took them or they was going to like try to put them in the system or something, in the foster. And I was like, well, if we could do it, we just going to struggle together. And so they daddy just drove them up here and dropped them off. I never forget, October 26, 1998. Dropped them off with nothing what they had on. And that next day, I remember I called my boss, and I had just graduated from college, so I just had my first job. I was like an HR assistant, not making no lots of money. I was HR assistant, and my boss at the time was like, what do y'all need? I had only been there 3 months. And when I tell you, people poured out, we had people driving beds to our house. I mean, clothes, stuff with tags on it for them. I mean, and I worked at Brazil USA at the time. And from the CEO to the telemarketers, people who I didn't even know, these people didn't know me, but the call went out. Stacy Brothers just got dropped off. She having to take in her brothers, and she only 22. And people just brought stuff and poured stuff because beds, stuff we didn't even have. Bathroom was back here. So yeah. And like I said, didn't have a lot, but here it just felt stable. It felt like home. So my goal is to at least get it back halfway decent. So the rejection started in the beginning. My parents. And then I think going through relationships and feeling that rejection, um, it's just that hole that just he does never feel. And then here, almost at 50 years old, that hole still never got filled. So I'm at least gonna try. May take me a while, but maybe y'all can come back and see the after effects. But I feel like my grandma be proud, smiling down. She see I try to, because she really did like this home. And she made it a home. Yep. Because we had a history and, never really got together. And then it's like, it came back full circle when he wasn't in a relationship, I wasn't in a relationship. And it was like, okay, it's the, this is the time I always want. And I think that making me feel wanted was what it was. And probably looking back, that's probably, again, because of my rejection issues, boom, soon as somebody came in and make you feel really wanted, you fell right, I fell right into it. So our situation, ended with, him wanting to leave, and because he already had another relationship. And so, that was hard because of the fact that when the other person decides to leave, their feelings are already done. And then your feelings are still here. So it's like, okay, that person left, but what are you supposed to do with your feelings that are still here? Like, so that was hard. Um, so really, that's really what led to the divorce is, he pretty much already left. I mean, he already had something else going on. And so he said he didn't wanna try anymore. So it kind of caught me off guard because I didn't even realize that was the case. Um, so that makes it harder when you know that's the case. I had to just hold it together and just try to figure out a way to just move on. And then I had my brothers were still, there, and I had to try to be strong for them, and that type of thing while I'm going through, that hurt as well. I had said I would never get married again, right? And I thought I was holding true to that. I did not get married again until 15 years later. So, and in that situation, again, somebody who we have been friends, like, for a couple of years. And, now that I look back, it's like, again, my love language is acts of service, right? So to anybody who, and then people who know that, how to combat that. So he was just somebody who's, very helpful. Like he saw me as a single parent, was trying to be very helpful and everything. I mean, just little stuff, knowing, if Kennedy needed something, we drop off stuff on the porch. And, as a single parent, that kind of stuff was like went a long way. It was that was kind of, so then we separated and, that type of thing. And so that was hard because I felt like I originally had said I would never get married again. So then I beat myself up saying, see, you shouldn't have tried again. You shouldn't have tried again. Why did you try again? And look what happened. And so, you should have listened to your gut. You didn't. I think if I didn't have the self-love that I do have, I don't think I'd be sitting here talking like this right now, because through all of the rejection and pain and just hurt that I have endured from so many different situations, I still have loved myself.